in the third chapter of Genesis, the 13th verse states that the woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate," referencing humans gaining human nature. And see, if Judge Danforth from The Crucible knew that, he would know that it's easier to denature plutonium than to denature the evil from the spirit of man, and would have seen right through Abigail's white lie. But he was so consumed by power that he killed innocent people just to prove a point. Because power tends to corrupt. As we see it also corrupt Willie Stark, a loving, non-bribe-taking man that descended into a man that choked out A.J. Moore because he didn't like him. He didn't like what he stood for. And that was after he became governor, because power tends to corrupt. And absolute power corrupts absolutely, as we see in Animal Farm, where the pig Napoleon kills all of his animals, basically, just for personal gain. He became the very thing he swore to destroy, as Obi-Wan put it. Speaking of pigs, the pig's head from Lord of the Flies tells Simon that the only beast on the island is inside them, meaning that the only beast is inside them in human nature. And since everyone has human nature, everyone can choose to act wrongly on that human nature and scam people out of money using the kidnapping scam and faking having someone's kid and ransoming them for money. But that's what people do under the influence of government. What if there's no one to call? No one to turn to? Well, it's a descent into chaos. As we see again in Lord of the Flies, the first step being a total accident. The guy died in a forest fire. Second death, Simon's death, leaving some unsettling vibes in your head as the boys question themselves and the situation as to whether it was an accident or not. But the third death, Piggy's death, was deliberate. They deliberately rolled the stone onto Piggy's head knowing it would kill him, and the conch died also that day, symbolizing the fall of government. And you think the author went to Somalia or something, because in Somalia, their gun or shootouts, public shootouts, car bombings, and grenade attacks regularly occur. It also doesn't help that they have a famine there too, but that's expected. But a place where there's lots of government, the USSR, a place where there's a lot of government, a famine where there's a lot of government, the USSR isn't expected. But in Child 44, that's exactly what happens. Two boys hunt a cat for food so they won't starve to death. Now, we humans, we are the problem and the solution. But it's kind of ironic that we put the reason we need government in charge of it. Just like it's ironic that the Bible is the most shoplifted book in America. But speaking of the Bible, Apostle Paul says in Romans, in the 3rd chapter of Romans, verse 23, that for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Paul hit it right on the head. We humans, we are imperfect. We will never be angels, even though we strive to be. But you may think, this will never happen to me. Let me tell you, that's why we have checks and balances.